Hello and welcome to episode 45 of the SquareXO podcast. I'm joined this week, it's me, Dan, hello, and I'm joined this week by Rebecca.
Hi everyone.
And nobody else, so it's just the two of us, famous Will Smith lyric songs there. Hope everyone's well. I should probably start, before I do all the social rubbish, just to say we did actually record one last week, but sadly Gremlins seemed to get into the system and we did an hour of chatting, 3 or 4 of us, I can't remember, it was a week ago, but we got to the end and it didn't record, so... Really,
that was the other 45.
Yeah, so we have had episode 45, it will just never be heard by anyone, so sorry about that. But yeah, so this is now episode 45 of the SquareXO podcast. As usual, you can follow us on Twitter, which is twitter.com/square_XO. We've got a website, www.squarexo.co.uk. We've got YouTube, but I still think we don't have a URL for it yet because we need more people.
No, I don't think we do.
Search for SquareXO on YouTube. We're on twitch.com/SquareXO and we're on patreon.com/SquareXO. I think that's it. Sorry, it's a bit slapdash intro there. Hopefully, if you're not a new listener, you know all that already.
Yeah.
This week it's Becky and I. It's probably going to be the last podcast of the year. It's the 17th of December as we record. Merry Christmas, everybody. So we're going to kind of just cover off our favourite games of the year. So we'll probably do a countdown from 5 to 1 of what the both of us have enjoyed this year. Tell you what both of our games of the year are, and go from there really, and just have a general chit chat and a catch up with everyone. Before we start, we should probably just remind everyone about the SquareXO December screenshot competition, just as a little reminder to share your PS4 share images with the hashtag SquareXO December. At the end of the month, we'll pick our favourite screenshot each and put it up for public vote for someone to win a keyring. It's been going quite well again. I'm seeing a lot of the same game again at the moment. So, maybe people will get some new ones for Christmas so that we can...
January might be a fun one.
Yes, sure, yeah, with the January sales upcoming as well. Maybe people will be jumping on board with some games that they've been waiting to come down in price. So, we've got that. And also, we ran a hidden agenda competition a few weeks ago now. We did announce our winner. They did... replied to us on Twitter, but they actually said that they didn't want the game. They were just entering to share the love with SquareXO. So we have redrawn the winner of Hidden Agenda. So if Jimmy Rowe is listening, which is at Jimmy Rowe 1994, congratulations, you've won a copy of the game from Monster Shop. If you do listen, drop us a message with your address and we will get that sent out as soon as possible. Hopefully before Christmas, so you and the family can play it on Christmas Day. So I think that's covered everything off, kind of.
That's good.
So we might as well crack on with our top 5 games of the year. Yeah. And I may as well throw over to you to do your number 5.
Yeah. Okay, so like we were saying before the podcast started, we found it quite difficult to actually think of our 5 favourite ones throughout the year. I don't know about everybody else, but I look at my gaming shelf and I think, did I play that this year or did I play that last year? It seems like January was just months ago. But my 5th favourite game of the year is Resident Evil 7. The non-VR version, I'll just put in. Yeah. I really like Resident Evil 7. I mean, I've always been a huge fan of the series, so when they were announcing a new one, I always knew that I would enjoy it to an extent. With that in mind, I didn't like Resident Evil 6, so I was a little bit hesitant about it. They also shook up the format, so it was a first person, whereas all the Resident Evils have been third person. Game, though, was so good. The first 6 hours or so, for people who've played it, you go in a mansion and then you move into like a sort of swampy area. I thought that those first 6 or 7 hours were amazing, and I love the game so much to that point where I would have given it like a 10 out of 10 easily, and it would have been higher down the list. But then towards the end of the game, I felt like it was a lot, really rushed and not really thought out very well. The ship area and then the mine area, for those who've played, it just felt like it just felt like it went so fast. And I mean, I hate when you play a good game and it like towards the end, it just sort of feels like we put the effort in the beginning to, lure people in, and then it just tapers off. So yeah, I loved everything about it. I really liked the shake-up. I thought the story was really good. It was genuinely a very scary game, but I was really disappointed by the ending. I just thought it was really fast-paced, and it was really weird. It felt like I was playing two different games, one that unraveled really slowly and then one that was just like, okay, we've got to finish, we want to get to the end credits now.
Like they'd run out of budget or something.
Yeah, almost. It was really weird though, because honestly, great all the way throughout, but it really did feel like I was playing two different games. Like, like I said, the first game, so the first 3 hours, they really loved it and they cared for it and it was nurtured and everything was thought out really carefully. And then the last 2 or 3 hours, I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? This is, okay, this character's here now and they weren't here. It just felt a little bit jumbly to me. So that's really the only reason why it's at number 5. I can't really fault it on anything else. I mean, I could not play it in VR. It was terrifying enough in standard. I remember I was playing it with my boyfriend and his brother, and the very first doorway, you couldn't see into it, and we were standing outside the door like, go in. No, just go in. No, it's fine. No, I don't want to go in. No, we're just go in the door. I mean, that's how scary it was. Like the first 10 minutes we were hesitant to even go into the house. But yeah, pretty incredible game. I did feel like it lost a little love at the end, and it was a bit, we just got to finish it. We've got to put it out. But,
yeah. So
good for the first bit.
I actually never played that this year. So I've not played it at all, right? And I was put off a little bit by the previous few games in the series, and then also the format change from third to first person. But it is something that probably would intrigue me in the January sales, like we mentioned before. But
I mean, it's quite cheap now, I think. I think you're looking at about... This dropped very quickly.
Well, it's a year old, actually, really, isn't it? Didn't it come out in Jan? Yeah,
January.
So, yeah.
I have to admit, I was a little bit... I like Resident Evil, but the last games weren't really my favourite, so I'm not sure. I'm really glad I did pick it up, and I'm really glad I played it.
Does
it deserves
it add to the universe? So I'm asking probably a question that most people know the answers to, but I take it it's got characters that we've grown to love in it, and it carries on the kind of the legacy.
Yeah, well, obviously Resident Evil normally focuses on one of the members of STARS, like the team. This one doesn't, but yeah, there is still familiarities within the season in the game. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to spoil anything.
No, that's it. We don't want to spoil anything. But no, I just wondered, because with that shift, I just wondered whether they'd used it to kind of reset.
They've shaped up everything. No, there's definitely still... reminders, and then there is bits of the game where you're like, oh yeah, this feels familiar. I'm definitely playing a Resident Evil game here.
Do you still eat green leaves to get life back?
No, you don't anymore.
Oh, no.
You pour a potion, like a bottle of ointment on your hand, and that cures you. It's a little bit
magic.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, I suppose that's it's a good number 5. My number 5, or my 5th best game of the year is Rhyme. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, you coming on to that next then, or
yes?
How weird. Yeah. So I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it came a little bit out of nowhere, because it kind of was announced, Sony dropped it, and it went away for a while, and then it kind of came back looking the same. So kind of thought, if Sony have dropped it and they're not supporting it, is it not going to be very good? But budget release as well, so it was a good price. But I just really, really enjoyed the laid-back pace. The visuals were beautiful. The setting was great. And then the kind of the journey, I suppose, that the character goes on is it's really nice. Until you kind of get to the end and you realise what the journey he's been on is.
I know.
It's not nice, but it's just one of those games that really, I felt, resonated with me for quite a long time. It isn't full of narrative. It isn't full of talking and cutscenes and loads of names to remember and loads of control schemes to remember. It was simple, but not in a bad way. And and in that simplicity, it was just a really beautiful game. I really think that Tequila Works did a good job with it, and I hope it's done well. I should have maybe done a bit of research. I don't know what the sales figures were, and if they feel like it's been a success, but I think it deserves to be. And I think if people haven't played it and see it knocking around for a decent price, I would really highly recommend it.
Do you have any negatives with it then, with it being at number 5?
Not necessarily, just that there were 4 better games, in my opinion, than Rhyme this year. I think because you could turn things like it wasn't very long to be a negative, but then I feel like sometimes a short, succinct game is a positive, and you can almost take more from something when you can spend a few hours with it and finish it and put it away. But you've kind of got that condensed experience rather than it being dragged out over many hours.
Yeah. Although it's not a really short game, is it? It's still, sort of medium.
8 to 10 hours, I'd probably...
Yeah, so it's not like... you normally hear people complain about, it's too short if it's like 4 hours and under. So you've still got quite a hefty game to get through. And
there's a lot of exploration that you can do as well. But I found the beauty with the game design was that I felt like I wanted to go and explore a pathway, but actually that was the way to go. So it almost rewarded you for exploration rather than doing what you were thinking you were meant to do. So... yeah, the soundtrack as well was really nice.
Oh, yeah.
It was brilliant.
They put so much effort into that. Wasn't it like 40 tracks long or something, I read?
I haven't actually got the album or whatever, but I just remember from playing it, the soundtrack. Yeah, so that would be my 5th best game of the year. I wish they'd do a kind of cuddly or a plush version of the Fox as well. Yeah.
I'm surprised they've not done that. Maybe that's something that they could market on.
Yeah. You kind of think sometimes that game designers must design characters or elements of the game that give it a bit of a merchandise angle or something to kind of prolong the life of it.
I mean, maybe it's something they'll think about bringing out if there's a lull between, the next game that, we'll just get people going back to Rhyme by bringing this out. People are like, this is cool. Do you remember this game it's from? Let's fire it up. Let's have a play.
Yeah, maybe. I'd love them to do something else along those kind of lines, a kind of another, like another brain... Because the puzzles were quite brain-teasing, weren't they? So like another thinking game. I can't think of the actual term, but a cerebral, that's it. Another kind of cerebral adventure would be really good. Because, I really enjoyed it. So I've kind of stood on your toes a little bit there.
So
I'm sure you've probably got more to say about it.
I've got a bit to say. So my fourth place is Rhyme as well. I placed it just a little bit higher than you. Basically, I just found I really like games like that. Like, that's my game. No narrative, just music. Something where you have to figure the story out for yourself, or if there is a story, it's quite it's quite mind. What would you say? It's like head scratching, and I mean, I love puzzlers, so I did really like Rhyme. I actually reviewed it, and I think I gave it a 7 out of 10. The reason being, I think, that I didn't like it as much as to give it a 9 or a 10 was because when I was playing it, I remember thinking, I could play Journey. I just remember thinking, this is Journey. In so many aspects, I'm like, this happens in Journey.
Right.
And I went on that narrative from thinking, this happens in Journey to, I'd love to play a bit of Journey right now. And I have to mark it down a little bit for that, because I did feel at times it was taking a lot of influence from other games. And I was like, it's just making me want to play these other games instead of making me think, wow, what an amazing and unique piece of original concept they've put in there. I just thought, this is exactly like that moment in this game or in this game. But no, it's definitely one of the, it came out, did it come out in May or very early
around
this
April,
year?
May, wasn't it, I think?
I mean, so it came out a long time ago, and I haven't actually played it since then. And I still remember pretty much every aspect of it. I remember how nice the music was and how serene everything was. I remember playing it and feeling like, I can relax. Like, this is a really nice, relaxing game. The puzzles were, simulating. It wasn't just like, this is easy, push a block. Some of them I was sitting there like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do here.
That shadow puzzle, wasn't it, I think?
Don't. It reminds me of awful times, like looking on the internet furiously, like, where is the solution to this puzzle? But no, I definitely, I was always going to be more drawn to it. That's kind of why it placed over Resi, because that is my type of game, no narrative. I love indie games. So as soon as I saw that, I was like, I've got to get that. I want to review it. I want to spend, a few hours playing it And it was nice because I was playing it, and normally when I play games to review them, I have to like play them a few times, and sometimes it's kind of a chore. It's like, oh, I've got to play that game again.
Yeah.
But when I was playing that for the second time, I was like, I love this. Like, even though I know what's going to happen, it was just so relaxing and easy to get into. It was like, okay, now I'm on the beach and I've got to do this. And like you said, there's all these paths to explore, and you get rewarded. And I mean, there's so many collectibles. You've platinumed it, haven't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. It took
so
2 playthroughs.
Really?
Yeah.
There's so many collectibles to do. I remember, like, I saw a pot and I was like, oh, I wonder what happens if I shout at that pot and it smashed. I was like, I bet that's a trophy.
Yeah, shout at all the pots.
I bet that's a trophy. No, I just found it really just so in depth, you know, for like a little indie game. I was just like, this is great.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really liked it. And it's something I'd probably play again in the new year after I've had a bit of a break from it, so I can come back to it fresh in a way.
Yeah, I loved that you could see some of the influences on it from films like, well, from Studio Ghibli films and kind of Japanese culture. I loved the walking robot eyes, and the kind of in the rain, and yeah, it was just a really, really cool game. Yeah, so I'm glad we've both mentioned it, because I'm glad that it's kind of resonated with us and that it's getting the exposure it deserves.
Yeah.
I think sometimes when games are released so early in the year that maybe people do forget about them as the year goes on.
I think so. I mean, I've spoken to a lot of people and they've been like, Resident Evil came out last year, right? And I'm like, no, it came out in January.
Yeah.
Like, that's the con, I guess, with releasing your game early in the year. By the end of the year, when people are doing these top 5 or top whatever, it's the ones that came out a few weeks ago that are really eye-catching because people are still in love with them and they're still boasting about them.
Yeah.
Whereas the ones that came out earlier in the year, you know, they had their moment earlier in the year and now they're just like, oh yeah, do you remember that good game that came out? You know, it's not more like, oh yeah, everyone's playing this game right now. It's still one of the hottest games to play.
People
it's
move
more
on
of a
quick,
memory.
don't they?
Oh God, in the gaming industry.
Yeah.
Really quick, yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah, that's my number 4.
So what's your number 3?
Do you want to do your number 4?
Oh yeah, good idea.
Just
that
completely
would help.
skipped over that.
I forgot.
Yeah, off you go. You do your number 4.
I worry that I'm going to do your number 3 by doing my number 4. But my number 4 is Uncharted: The Lost Legacy.
We're okay.
Okay, cool. I was a bit dubious at first to put this even in my top 5, only because it's technically DLC to a game that's already been released. I know they released it as a standalone game and it had its own packaging and all of that, but it was basically Uncharted 4 again, but shorter.
Yeah.
But I put it in just because I think, thinking back to actually playing it this year, it was a really, really good game. And although it was shorter, and although I've moaned about on this podcast a few times the kind of the open world section and not being sure what I think, kind of generally, as a whole, I think it is the 4th best game I've played this year.
Yeah.
Naughty Dog games always look amazing, always sound amazing, the control's amazing, the story's really good, the way that the storytelling works is really good, the voice acting's great. It's hard to kind of pick anything apart or also to remember it, but yeah, I think what it did was it took the Uncharted formula and shrunk it down into a size that, again, like what I mentioned with Rhyme, it didn't feel overbearing or too long. It just felt like a decent length that you could really enjoy.
Yeah.
I say it's not up with the top 3, probably because of that reason, that it is a DLC based on something else. But also, I did moan about the open world stuff, so I couldn't really put it any higher. So, yeah. I don't have much more to say about it, really, because that was a long time ago as well. That was kind of August, I think it came out, so it feels like a long time ago. But
well, it was quite a long time ago looking now, wasn't it?
But brilliant game.
It was a good game. I really enjoyed it, and I mean, I was a little bit apprehensive about playing an Uncharted game without Nathan Drake, because obviously that's the heart of the Uncharted games. That's what they're all about. But no, I did really enjoy it. I think Uncharted and Naughty Dog in general are just so clever when it comes to designing cinematic cutscenes. Some of the stuff, like towards the end of the game, I was like, that's amazing. Like that just happened. And I was in awe, like, wow, that was great. So I did really like the game, and I would have put it in my top list, but I didn't because of the fact that it was DLC. And I guess that's why. I mean, obviously there's nothing wrong with your opinion, and I agree it's an amazing game. But yeah, I don't know.
It's kind of cheating, isn't it? Because they already had the kind of everything there and ready to go, and they just
it was just already for
added
them.
a few bits into it. But,
yeah,
I'd almost be up for, and I've probably bashed episodic gaming before as well because of what it is, but I'd almost be up for Naughty Dog doing more kind of bite-sized, cheap titles like that. I know it probably doesn't suit them because they've obviously got to invest a lot of time and money and effort into making something that's a quarter of the size of a full game. But, I mean, they did it with The Last of Us. They've done it with Uncharted 4 now, where they've kind of released a side story as a standalone product. I think I'd be up for them doing that more. I think...
Yeah. I mean...
The worlds they create are so vast and full of history, or some of the side characters could be built on. So I think we'll definitely see it with The Last of Us 2. As long as they don't... It's getting that fine line between milking something too much and pissing people off.
Exactly.
Doing it right. And Naughty Dog do it right generally. So
yeah, it does make me wonder if the reason that they decided to do this without Nathan was because maybe they thought, oh, they must be getting sick of seeing Nathan. Let's bring back some of the older characters who, I mean, Chloe was in the games for quite a while. She was exactly like a minor character. So I know a lot of people before Lost Legacy came out were, we want a game with Chloe, or we want another game where Chloe comes back in. So it just made me wonder if people were getting to the point where they're like, oh yeah, Nathan Drake is cool and all, but we've seen a lot of Nathan Drake, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, he's had 4 or 5 games at that point. So I think also it's quite a good, without getting drawn into the discussion too much, it was quite good to have Chloe as a lead character, because it gives... without sounding condescending, it gives female gamers like a good role model as well. It was great to see Chloe take the lead in an Uncharted game, and I think I think if they did do another Uncharted game, if they didn't have Nathan Drake in it, I don't think fans now would have a problem, because they've kind of been teased that already. So
yeah. So
anyway.
it might be one that I can see that.
So that's my number 4.
Number 4. Okay, so my number 3 is probably a game that not many people have heard of, because it's another indie game. It's called Planet of the Eyes. It's how do I describe it? It's sort of platform 2D indie game about a robot on a lost planet. His ship crashes. He's on a planet. He's got to find his master, essentially. I just really, really liked this game. It's got such a really cool retro feel to it. All the landscapes, they look so well thought out in their own way. And then, like I said, there's this really nice retro feel to everything. Everything about it also is just so... It makes you want to... I don't know what the word is, but I guess it like hooks you. You don't want to stop playing. And it's quite short. That's probably the only thing I wasn't... I was a little bit disappointed by, but it was one of those games where I really did struggle to find flaws in it. It presented exactly what it was at the beginning of the game. It's the first 10 minutes you got the idea. There wasn't going to be any fighting. There would be puzzles, but it wasn't going to be a game where you'd have to fight foes or do really complex puzzles. It's one of these games where it's more about using your environment to aid you.
Okay.
But I was really weird too, because it was never something I would have picked up, if you know what I mean. Like, I never would have picked it up, but I was given a review code for it, and I was like, oh yeah, I'll give this a go. But yeah, it was one of these games where the longer it's been since I played it, the more I can't stop thinking about it. And I was like, that was a really clever little game. That was.
Is it a Metroidvania game? So, or not really? You don't really find new abilities?
It's more... the main thing is, so your master, the guy who made you, leaves these logs scattered over the planet, and your aim is to basically find him by tracking down the logs.
Okay.
And as you go through the game, you have to, overcome obstacles, and there's really clever puzzles, and there's all these weird creatures, on the planet of, Planet of the Eyes. They're all really weird, and you have to basically like overcome these puzzles, and you get to the end, and it's one of these games where once you reach the ending, it's quite touching, even though it's a game where, like I said, there's no narrative, so all the emotion you get is through the music or
Right.
through the dialogue of the master. Like, the robot doesn't speak, he just gets on with his mission. You die a lot in this game. It's one of these games where you die a lot, but you're meant to die a lot. It's, it teaches you what you're supposed to do by letting you die. But it's nice because the loading screens aren't very long. So you die, you respawn a second later, and then, you just get back on with it.
Yeah.
I mean, the only negative I had with it was that it was just a little bit short, which I hate saying because, there's nothing wrong with a game being short if it was designed to be like that. I'd rather it be like that than be pushed onwards to a longer game, but then have less content and feel strained.
Yeah.
But it was one of these games where I enjoyed the world so much. I was like, oh, I wish I could play a little bit more. And when I got to the end, the ending section is really infuriating for anyone who's played it. That annoyed me. But almost the rest of the game sort of made up for it, so I could sort of forgive it for that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, it irked me, but I was like, but the rest of it was amazing.
You
so
could forgive it for those.
I can forgive it for that. Like, they made like one mistake at the end, but apart from that, it was great. And that had a really nice soundtrack too. Like, everything was so retro, and I just found that really touching, how it's different it was from the mainstream games. That's why I love indies, because they focus more on, standing out in a massive world. They've got to like put their little piece of game out against all these big AA titles, and that really caught my eye. And I mean, I've played that a few times. It's one of the only games I've actually platinumed, and I was like, I just want to go and discover everything and play it again.
Yeah.
Use the platinum as a reason to play it again, when really I didn't need a reason at all. I would have played it again in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that sounds good though. Yeah, I might.
Yeah, it was good fun. It's really short
as well.
And the platinum's easy, Dan. You'll be able to get it really
Nice.
quick.
Sounds good to me. Yeah, I might check that out because I know that PSN tends to do a Christmas sale as well, don't they?
Because I mean, it came out I think it came out in 2015 on Steam, and then it came out this year. Like 12th, I want to say 12th of September, around that time, on
Nice and precise.
on PlayStation and the other consoles. So it should be on the PSN shop. So hopefully we'll get a discount around Christmas.
I'm just going to look it up now. I'm on the PSN store. Yeah, it's $7.99 currently on the
Oh,
PSN
is it?
store. No discount or anything. That's kind of full price.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I might add that to my purchase list.
Oh, I'm glad I persuaded you.
So my number 3 is Persona 5.
Okay.
So again, this was another game I ummed and ahed about putting in my top 5, not because of how brilliant it is, but because I haven't actually finished it yet. Mm-hmm. I am 63 hours in.
That's insane.
I think I'm nearing the end. I won't say too much because I don't want to spoil it for anyone else, but the game starts, as with a lot of good films, it then goes back in time whilst you catch up to where the game starts, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of at the point now where I'm back to the start, or what happens at the start of the game. So I feel like I'm almost at the end because of that. I don't know though, I could be a million miles away still. But it's one of those games that has a lot of really die-hard fans, especially of the series, but has no real social online traction. It seems to be something that people either love or don't know anything about.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to put it in my top 5 just to try and persuade people that maybe aren't sure about it or don't tend to like JRPGs, because I want more people to play it, basically.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
it's a massive
it's big, isn't it?
undertaking. Yeah, and that is probably quite a big negative. It is a big negative for me because I don't get much time. So I started it. We did a podcast a while ago, and I was kind of saying, "Oh, I don't want to start it. I don't want the commitment."
Yeah, I do remember that.
I started it on that day. I think it was in July. So I've been
God.
kind of plugging away at it for a long time, and
Yeah.
I've played other things whilst playing it, but it's just still brilliant. Like just everything about it. It almost a little bit like what you were just saying about Planet of the Eyes, where the developers have to be different to stand out because they're an indie. But this is different to stand out, but it's done to a AAA standard. The kind of the menu system and the UI, it's really vibrant and bright. It looks really smart. All the loading screens are all really stylized. Graphics are amazing.
Yeah.
But it's the story that's the driver, the narrative, and to be able to carry that for so far 63 hours and it be gripping, it's really, really well done to the developers, I suppose, you know, to be able to hold someone's attention for that long. So
yeah. I mean, I fall into that category. You know how you said there's people who love it or don't know anything about it? I know nothing about that game. Like, I couldn't even tell you what it was about at all. I couldn't say anything about it.
I think they've been clever with it because they've obviously blocked all streaming. They've blocked all screenshots, even from the first. So as soon as you boot the game up, it's just all blocked, which is great. And because it takes so long, I think, and because Persona games are historically based on a twist or on a theme that could be spoiled quite easily, I think it's a really good thing that they've done it, because I still am kind of like, oh, what's going to happen? Oh, who is it?
Yeah,
I've still got no idea as
is.
well. So even this far down the line, it's going to all be a surprise, and I still couldn't guess really who is the baddie or whatever, you know, without spoiling it too much. But it's such a good game, and I loved Persona 4. I spent 111 hours finishing that. And it was on the Vita, so it was easier to play, whereas this is on PS4, so you've kind of got to invest a bit more effort into playing it on the telly as an adult. But it's just brilliant. The themes that it covers in the story, it's very grown up. It's not a game for children. It's all about, I won't say what it's about, sorry, but the things that it touches upon are all like popular culture things, and about being okay with things like your sexuality and what being a criminal is, and what right and wrong is, and doing things you shouldn't do, and what the repercussions are. And it's a very adult game, and that's another thing that I really like about it, is that the developers haven't held back on what they've put into it. So it's brilliant. It's just really good, and I'd urge anyone to play it if they feel like they could invest that amount of time into it.
I mean, people do get put off, don't they? I mean, I've been recommending people The Witcher where I work, and they're like, oh, but I've heard it's really long, and then you can tell that straight away. They're like, I don't know really, because it's long and I don't really want to do it. But I feel like when I played The Witcher, I ended up just loving the story so much that I remember being sad when it was over, and that must have been like 90 hours later, if you know what I mean, if not more.
And with games like that, you kind of then start playing something else, and you're just like, oh, it's not the same. It's just not the same. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's my third best game of the year. It may well creep up as I finish it, but I just felt like I couldn't put it any higher because I haven't finished it.
You've not finished it. Yeah.
So
I get that.
Yeah, that's my number 3.
Okay, so we're getting close to the big one now.
Yeah.
So my number 2, second best game of the year, is Okami HD. Sort of saying on par with you, Dan, with what you just said. I haven't actually finished it, but I have finished the game because it's been ported over. I have finished the port on the Wii. So at the minute, the way it's going, I sort of have a really roughly, good idea where it's going, unless they've changed it up on the PlayStation. Do you know what I mean? Unless they've... But, I mean, I loved the game when it was on the Wii, and I played it non-stop when I was about 12, 13, 14, that age, and it just came out. But I did have a lot of issues with it. I remember that the most of the game is about using a celestial bush to draw techniques. So like you can summon bombs, or you can, create a gust of wind to push you across the river, stuff like that. Yeah. And on the Wii, it just did not respond at all to the Wii remote. So you'd be, drawing it with the Wii remote, and you'd get something completely different. It was infuriating,
wasn't it, on the Wii?
It made me so angry, to a point where I used to have like months where I just didn't play the game because I can't do it. And as you see, as the game goes on, it gets harder. You rely more and more on these brush techniques you learn. It becomes impossible to play the game without them, and it just drove me insane that I couldn't summon the one I wanted. So I did finish the game, but it must have taken me like nearly a year, because I kept having to have breaks because I was so angry. I was like, no, I need to stand back and play something else to calm down. But on the PlayStation, it's just perfect. Like, all those issues have been ironed out. It runs so smoothly on 1080p. It just looks amazing.
Because there options for different visual modes?
I'm not sure. I haven't really dabbled in any of that. I've just sort of like let it go. Yep, off you go, play. It looks fantastic. I mean, I love the art style of Okami. They obviously very heavily inspired by Japanese folklore. So everything is drawn in the thick ink brush lines. It just looks so good. It's so unique, and it's something that it's been one of the games where I'm like, I'll always go back to that game. I mean, even like 6 months ago, I was like, I really fancy playing Okami on the Wii, to the extent where I actually downloaded it again, got it and played it. And then obviously it was announced on the PlayStation. I was like, this is great. I'm going to love this. But it's such a good game. It's very witty. There's quite a bit of humor in there, which I think is a nice touch to it. But the music's incredible. Obviously, once again, very heavily inspired by Japanese culture.
Yeah, I love it because of that reason. I wrote my dissertation on Shintoism.
Did you actually?
So that's kind great. Of a lot of the things that Okami talks about and touches upon, I kind of wrote about. So that's why I like it as well.
I mean, everything about it. It's such a long game too. Like, you can play it to be 10 hours long, you can play it to be 30 hours long, you could even stretch up to 60. Like we talked about earlier, it's one of these games where exploration, really aids you, because you're in a land where there's hundreds of people who need your help. You can either choose to help all of them, you can help a few, you can help none of them, and that like extends or decreases your gameplay hours. And then helping them out, obviously, rewards you in a way that you wouldn't get if you didn't do them. So you face the game differently. But I just find it so hard to find faults in it. My review of Okami will go up on Tuesday, the 19th. But, you're already getting a little taster, and I don't think it's going to be a bad review. No, the only reason I didn't put it at number one is that there was a game I enjoyed more. That's literally the only reason. It was very close between my second choice and first choice, but I mean, now that the issues with the drawing have been sorted out, I really find it hard to find anything wrong with it.
So how do you do that now? Is it just an analog stick? So
it's still on the analog stick, but it just seems to be a lot smoother. I mean, obviously before you're just picking up the Wii remote and waving it in the air, and it's like wobbling, and it just used to infuriate me. And now it just seems really smooth. So I did a stream of it, and I even had someone message me like, "Wow, it looks like it's really easy to draw in this version. More easy than it is in the Wii one." I said, "Yeah, that was the biggest thing for me. That's what really put me off it. And now that's ironed out, I can actually really enjoy it again." So I'm a massive fan. I mean, I can't wait to actually finish it on the PlayStation, see if there's any surprises further down the line.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if there was, but you never know. You never know.
You don't know. But no, I'm really enjoying it. But like I said, unfortunately, there was one game I enjoyed just that little bit more, which is why it's at number 2.
That's cool. I've got Okami. I just haven't unwrapped it yet. So
you're in for a treat.
I want to finish Persona 5, so I don't want to start another big game like that before finishing Persona. So cool. So my number 2 game of the year is Hellblade.
Oh yeah.
Again, I've spoken about it before, but for similar reasons to Persona 5, actually, in that the themes and some of the things it touches upon from a story point of view, they're just things that you don't normally see in the gaming world. They're looking at the world from an adult point of view and making these games that are almost not educational, but they're making you think about things that you don't normally. And with Hellblade, nothing's overtly said about the actual journey that Suena's going on or why, but you, again, a bit like Rhyme, you piece together these bits and pieces through there's like tombstones that you look at, and you get told a little bit about the Norse history about where you're heading to.
Yeah.
So you piece together her story through that and through some of the cutscenes, and it's not obvious, but there's some real dark stuff there. It's really moving, and also it's hard to put into words really, but yeah, it's just really good, and people should really download it and play it. Gameplay wise, it's quite old fashioned. So a lot of games these days tend to be, well, open world. They tend to have skill branches. So you get a certain amount of points or collect a certain amount of things. You get a new skill, and then you branch off and you get more skills that makes you stronger in combat. There's kind of none of that. It's very much a corridor game. So going from point A to B, there's very little scope for exploration. There's bits and pieces, but nothing major. The combat, it's just a couple of buttons. Like it's like a heavy, a light, and a block button. So it sounds simple, but there's quite a lot of depth to it with the timings and how you counter other bosses. So it's simple, but in a really, really good way. Obviously, everyone's seen the screenshots. We've seen them through the competitions we do. It looks absolutely stunning. Almost second to none on the system. What they've achieved is just brilliant. And the soundtrack as well. Or not so much the soundtrack, but the audio track. So,
like the sound design.
Yeah, if you've got headphones on, and everyone's always said, play it with headphones, play it with headphones.
I've seen that a lot, actually. Yeah.
I didn't to start with, but then Lisa was like, I think it was up loud, and Lisa was trying to do something. So I was like, I'll put my headphones on then. And then you really
You'll never listen to it without headphones again.
Yeah, you really got a sense of so the game is, all throughout the game, there's voices in her head coming from different places, and it's like telling her to do something, telling her not to do something. And so those voices, when you're on headphones, are all around. So it's not just coming from the TV in front of you, it's from behind you, in front of you.
Oh, that's cool.
So you kind of, it is quite creepy. And there are parts of the game that are quite unsettling. And you're not quite sure. You're a bit like what you were saying when you were playing with Jack with Resident Evil. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to put her in that position because she's really fragile in the game. And they also hint at the permadeath option, don't they?
Because that put me off.
It's not you won't.
But it's not even there.
I got nowhere near kind of being killed, but there's just that threat all the time of what if. So. Yes, it's just a really, really good game. And again, the developers deserve a huge amount of praise for doing something that's different and not just licensing something or releasing another game that's the same over and over again. They've gone out there to be different and to try and educate people on certain themes and it's really good. And
I really want to get it, but I'm so not put off essentially. I would rather have a physical copy.
I'd love
obviously
a physical
digital
copy.
I have done it before where I've bought the digital copy and then I've, got the physical copy because I love the game so much. But I'm kind of holding on hope that there is a physical release because I know the second that there is, if there is going to be one, I'll buy it straight away. Yeah. Because it just sounds like it's something I would love.
I was put off for a long time. And I shouldn't have been really, but I was.
I know, I feel bad about it.
By
I'm
the
like,
price,
why?
Because for me, $24.99 for a digital game, it seems too much because I'm not actually getting anything for my money.
Hasn't it dropped?
I don't know. I'm on the store still. I'll have a look. But I bought it on the day where Ninja Theory donated all the profit for what you were buying to the mental health charity. So I kind of. Okay, I don't know if I'm right and wrong in doing that but I thought I will buy it on this day then because at least it means it's for a cause.
It's something.
I'd have probably been better off just giving $24.99 direct to charity. But sometimes life's just not like that. But it's just. It is I know it says purchase $24.99. Yeah, it's still $24.99.
A few weeks ago, possibly Black Friday, it was down to I want to say $14.99, and I was like, I'll think about getting that, and I hate myself for this, but I really do like physical copies, and I'm just like, I've got so much faith that it's such a good game, it will come out in physical, so I'm just like holding on to that.
Yeah, I think maybe if they haven't done by June, you should just give in and buy it.
Get it,
just because...
Because I don't want to miss it, do you know what I mean? I know it's going to be an amazing experience.
Yeah, I think every kind of gamer, so rather than not just people that play FIFA every year or whatever, but if you want to experience something different, then Hellblade is a must. It's really good. So yeah, that's my number 2.
Oh, exciting. Okay, so I've talked about this a lot already, so people probably already know exactly what I'm going to say. But my favourite game of 2017 is Little Nightmares. I couldn't think of anything else to go at number 1. I mean, Okami came really close, but I played a lot of dark indie games, you know, sounds really weird, but that feature children in distress. So obviously I played Inside and I played Limbo. So I do like that kind of game. I like the idea of, you know, being defenseless in a world that's so cruel. Little Nightmares, I didn't hear anything about its release. I completely missed it. I feel like it wasn't very broadcasted because I didn't know anything about it until July. When I played it, I remember just feeling so shocked at everything, you know, the enemies, the gameplay, the story. There's this underlying theme throughout the game. And I was like, why have they put that in? That's really weird. And then when I got to the end of the game, I was like, I get why they put that in now. That's very clever. And I love the main game. And I was very lucky in a way that I got it in July because the first DLC came out in July. So I played the first DLC. I loved that. That was set with a different character at the bottom of the ship because you're on the ship, and that's really clever as well, you know.
Right.
You're literally stuck in the middle of the ocean, so there's all these horrors around you and you can't get away from them. The ship was a great setting. Like the first DLC was a great setting. The characters in that were really good. The characters in the second DLC were amazing, and that touched on more emotional tones. That was more about life on the moor, which is the ship, and you know how characters got there in the first place. So there's still one DLC left to come out, which is why, you know, I'm a little bit apprehensive about putting it in my number 1 because I've not played 100% of it yet. But from what I've played so far, I've just not been disappointed. I've loved every second of it, and it's quite a short game. It's something you can finish in 5 to 6 hours. But the themes in it genuinely shocked me, and I'm quite good at predicting where things are going to go in games. Do you see what I mean? So I can normally
play so many. You kind of think you can read the minds. Yeah.
So many. I mean, like when I was playing Inside, I was like, I have a feeling where this is going to go, and you know, lo and behold, it went down that route. And when I was playing this, I was like, I have no idea. So that when the actual reveal happened, I was even more effective, and I was shocked. And I remember actually having my mouth open, like, oh my god, that just happened. That's shocking.
Yeah.
Well done to the developers though, because it stood out for me, and I've played it about 4 times since then. Wow, I want to say. So it's definitely a game where I've been like, oh, I'll go back to it. I'll just go back and play it again because it's something I enjoy doing, and everything about it's really good. I mean, I have the soundtrack in my car right now. Like I listen to it all the time. It's really eerie. It follows along the main theme of the game of it being, you know, littered with a child's curiosity, but at the same time there's a lot of danger in there.
Yeah.
It's just one of these games where it's so unique and it's so different from the AA games. I say that's why I like my little indie games, because they're different, you know. It's got no narrative. It's all down to your own theories. So by the time I finished the game, I was like, I have to know what happened. And obviously I just went on loads of theory sites. Everybody has a different theory, but it was really interesting pairing that with my own theories of the game, and it made me want to play it again. Like, oh, did I catch this? Also, there's a lot of secrets in it. So there's loads of little hidey rooms where there's obviously trophies, you know, to get the platinum.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's loads of little hidey rooms, and you'll find it, and it'll actually reveal a part of the gameplay. So it's something you could completely miss and then come back to later. So I just feel like even now, even though I've played it 4 or 5 times, I'm still learning about it.
Yeah.
I think that's why it stands out to me so much, just because it was, you know, something where I was so sure what was going to happen. And then when it didn't happen and the opposite happened, I was like, wow, this is incredible.
Yeah, blew your mind.
It literally, I remember playing it, like I said earlier, something happened and I had literally, my mouth was like open. I was like, no way. Like, no, for 30 seconds at least, I must have been sitting there, like saying to myself, no way. Like, no way. Like looking around the room, at the empty room, like, no way.
Yeah.
But
it's amazing when a game can do that.
Yeah, so clever. I mean, so the environment is set up sort of as a prison and a playground. So there's safe areas where you can just climb and, run around and collect things. And then there's the same areas that are suddenly just transformed because an enemy's in there. And all the enemies have disadvantages. Some of them can't see, some of them can't smell. So you have to learn and constantly adapt throughout the game to survive. And I mean, like, facing up against some of the enemies, like, you really do feel like they're going to hurt you. Like, you're like, I must not let them catch me. Yeah. Not just like, oh, if they catch me, I'll die and, I'll just reload the save file. You feel like I mustn't let them catch me. Like, I don't want to be caught because I don't know what they'll do to me. It's just so clever. I mean, I cannot wait for the third DLC. I'm so excited. But at the same time, I'm like, oh, but then it's over and I want another one.
That sounds so good. Though. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So, have you played it?
No.
Have you not?
No.
It's very standout for its themes and what it does. I say that's why I like it. It's so original, and what it does really shocked me because I played it and I was like, this is going to be exactly like Inside and Limbo. It's about a child in distress. I've got to get them out of this situation. And it just turned out to be something so much more complex than that. And I'm learning more every time, I play a DLC. Like the last DLC, like I wrote in my review, took a complete different turn, and I was shocked that a game that had been so scary and eerie could actually take such a heartfelt turn and actually make me feel like, oh, this is touching.
Yeah.
It was just done very cleverly. So yeah, that's my number one game of 2017, and I have talked about it being my favorite game of 2017 for a long time. Yeah. So it's probably not a shock, but I couldn't think of anything else to go at number one. It just blew me away.
There seems to be a bit of a theme running in what makes mine and your kind of what we like in games. I suppose maybe
it's interesting, isn't it?
Maybe our tastes are quite similar. Because my number one game of the year, and it's not going to surprise anyone, is Nier Automata.
Yeah.
Automata, or however you want to pronounce it. Yeah. There's so many reasons why I just loved my time with it. One of them is the fact that it kind of takes what let's try and word this right. It takes what problems humans have and boils it down to a level that you kind of think robots shouldn't have those problems. It's really hard to say. But so you're basically, humanity is ended or ending, or you're not quite sure what's going on. The world's been populated by robots which have been left by humans, and then they've kind of filled the void that humans left. So some of them become workers, some of them do this, that and the other, like what humans do. And then as the game goes on, you get to know that some of the robots are good, some of them are bad, like humans. Some of the robots think that they're not pretty enough. Some of them question what love is. Some of them have mental health problems, and it's just, and it's that's not all about what the game is, but it's just that Platinum Games have the kind of the balls almost to touch upon those themes as just a way of pulling narrative forward, and it just adds so much depth to the world, because the world, or the things that you're killing essentially have lives and have feelings, and you almost start to feel like, am I the bad one?
Oh, that's clever.
And they did it in the first Nier, and the first Nier is stunning, but it got overlooked by so many people, and it almost did the same thing, that with each playthrough something new happens or changes. So in the original Nier, I think you played it 3 or 4 times, but by the 4th playthrough you're killing the bosses, but what you're actually doing is destroying the world, which in the first playthrough you don't realise that's what you're doing.
That's clever.
And I think a lot of people will have missed the point with Nier Automata, because they'd have played it once or played it and got a little way in and then not actually realised the nuances of the title. So which annoys me a little bit, because people were just throwing it away as being just another crappy Japanese game and not actually looking at it, or not looking past what it is. But then that's kind of, I feel like, well, that's their loss. If they're not willing to embrace it, then that's their loss. But basically, you play it through once as one character and you kind of do the story, then you do it again, but you change to the partner character's point of view. But in doing so, it adds a whole new set of gameplay to it. So the first playthrough is very much about combat, and Platinum Games do combat like no one else. I love Platinum Games' combat. The whole parry system, and if you time your buttons right, you knock the enemy back a little bit, and then you can attack them, and you can feel like you're the most powerful person in the world if you get good at it. And then the second playthrough, they add hacking, so you battle, but then you hack the robots, and then that goes to a top-down shooting game essentially. So you fight a boss, you hack in, and then you have to do a top-down shooting game bit, and then you kind of finish that playthrough. So you get really good at that, and then you do the third playthrough, and it all changes again, and it's all back to combat, but it's back to kind of real kind of Twitch-based combat with loads of bullets flying at you that you've got to dodge, and it just I don't know, it's just something about it. It's just every time you go through it, you're just like, wow, this is amazing. I can't believe I'm doing it again, but it's so different. And I just loved it. I think a lot of people won't ever see that in it. And then to see the real ending, because there's quite a lot of twists in it, and you're kind of fighting for a cause or doing something that you think is right, and then it all gets flipped on its head. But to actually see the ending, you've got to delete your save game file. So
really?
You plough 45, 50 hours into it, but then at the end you get given that choice of, do you want to do this, or actually are you happy? So it touches on things it's a bit like real life. Like, if you want real change, you've got to really change. So if you really want to do what you've got to do, you've got to delete this and start again. And it makes you question it. And the last boss fight of the third playthrough, it jumps between the views of all the characters, and it ends up that, I don't want to say too much, but the way it's done, it's just brilliant. But it's almost like rewarding you for playing it through to the end. And I wish more people would embrace it and not just fob it off because of what the characters look like, or because it's hard, basically. Because the first hour or so, if you die, you have to start again. And some people just these days can't cope. Well, not can't cope, but it's so alien.
Yeah, that you can't just respawn right outside the door.
That's it. It goes back to old school saving. So to save the game, you've got to go to a save point and save it. Yeah. So you kind of like, do I go and tackle that group of enemies? But if I die, and I just loved it. I really, really want to go back to it and do it again. But I've deleted my save file. So it's like, I don't know. But yeah, I'd love them to remaster the first one as well. But yeah, I just love that game. There's just something about it that
you get games like that, don't you? There's something about that game.
Yeah, just ticks all the boxes. So so that was my game of the year, and I probably chatted on far too much then about it, and probably waffled and not made much sense. But it's hard to explain something when it's so complex. It takes you 50 hours in a game to understand the complexities. To
summarize it in like 2 minutes, it's impossible.
Yeah.
Because people will listen and they'll be like, I don't understand why those are their favourite games. Do you know what I mean?
Completely. And I think we've gone quite left field. I think actually people may well be upset about the lack of some games, but then everyone's different, aren't they? And like I said, maybe we look for things that are a bit different rather than just being a good game. But maybe. I'd urge anyone with Persona, Hellblade, and Nier Automata or Automata. I'd urge anyone that's umming and ahhing just to try it. At least give it a go. Yeah, as I'm sure you are with Little Nightmares, Planet of the Eyes, and
that's why I like indie games, because that's in my top indie games, because I just feel like everybody assumes that the top picks are going to be like Horizon Zero Dawn and Legend of Zelda, which I haven't even played to there. Yeah. But it's nice to actually realise that there are some amazing little games out there that people just completely brush over because all the attention's on the big games. I liked Horizon Zero Dawn, but at the same time I didn't like it. So there would have been no point in putting it on my list just to have a big name on my list, if you know what I mean.
Agreed. Yeah, completely agreed. Yeah. Well, I think we've got a good list there. Hopefully we can encourage some people to at least try what we feel are the best games of the year. And people are going to disagree, but hey,
everybody's got their own opinion. Everyone's entitled to their top 5 of the year.
I'd like it if people that listen to this kind of maybe drop us a tweet and just maybe and not even just back us up or knock us down, but just share with us why they're picking the games that they like, as opposed to just saying names, because sometimes a game is more than just the sum of its parts, or more than what you actually play. It's what it leaves you with or leaves you thinking about. But then some people probably just play games to play games.
Exactly, yeah.
You know?
People probably, like we've obviously been thinking, oh God, is this a contender for Game of the Year 2017?
Yeah. So, yeah. We were going to kind of also give like a bit of a shout out or a little mention to maybe something or something else that doesn't make our top 5, but we feel like we want to mention that's maybe been good this year. So I was gonna mention Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Oh yeah.
So I'm completely aware we're a PlayStation podcast, or we're meant to be. So I didn't put a Nintendo game into my top 5.
Yeah.
I've been playing Mario Odyssey, and it's absolutely brilliant. I also played Breath of the Wild, and I kind of have a love-hate relationship with it. But it's another game that's just so good. It's devoid of a lot of narrative. It's really big. There's not much signposting. There's a lot of things that a Zelda game isn't in it, if that makes sense. So it's not a true Zelda game in what we've come to know, but on the flip side, it's an absolutely amazing experience. And I think it deserves all the credit it's got. It deserves to sell all the Switch units that it sells, and it's a credit to Nintendo, I think, for just making it. So it's a really good game, and I just wanted to kind of mention that on the podcast, as on a PlayStation podcast, that I haven't finished it because I didn't feel that there was that narrative drive, but my time that I spent with it, 40 odd hours, it was just amazing. So yeah, it is a good game, and I think they deserve the praise for it. So that was kind of my shout out.
Okay, I do have a shout out, but I loved it, and I think it's probably one of the most eerie and unnerving games I've played. But the reason it's not in my list is because it came out in 2016, not 2017. So this weekend I played and finished Oxenfree on the PlayStation. Wow.
I've heard of it, yeah.
Oh, my. I heard of it for months. Probably since June I've heard of it, and I've been like, it sounds interesting, but I don't know if it's something I would like. And then my boyfriend was like, oh, this game called Oxenfree is coming out on the Switch, and I really want to look at it. I was like, that's on the PlayStation. And we were like, should we download it? Should we play it? We'll play it. So, yeah, we downloaded it and played it, and wow, it's so good. I mean, it's about a group of teenagers, and they go to an island and they accidentally open a rift in time.
Okay.
So it sounds crazy, and I was a bit like, oh, okay, I don't know if that's sort of down my alley. But the way the game moves after that is so clever. It's all about time loops, and you'll be playing a section, suddenly time will rewind and you'll have to play it again, and then you'll have to solve a puzzle while you're in that time loop. And the atmosphere is really eerie. It does a really good job of making you, like we've already mentioned, not want to go on, because you're like, oh, I don't really like how it's looking. I think I'll just stop here. Like, I don't want my character to go into that situation. But wow, I played the whole thing probably in about over 2 or 3 days, and it's so clever. It's full of unexpected twists and turns. It's quite cheap on the PSN shop, so I would really highly recommend anybody considering it just to go and get it, because it's literally mind-blowing how amazing it is and how different, and it's so scary. Like, it's done in not in a jump scary way, but it really, really unsettles you, and it makes you really think about what you're doing. It's one of these ones where you pick the dialogue for your character, and every tiny thing you say has an impact on the ending. And it made me want to go and play it again, because I'm like, oh, I did this and I didn't think about how that would affect my ending, and I want to get the other ending, so now I need to go back and play it again
and say something different.
Yeah, so there's a huge element of replayability in there, which I just love. So unfortunately it did not come out in 2017, so it could not be on my list, but definitely one of the most, one of the games that stands out for me that I've played this year. But it's really good. Yeah,
you mentioned time loops and time travel and things. There was a PlayStation 1 game a long time ago called Time Slip, and you were a snail, and I think every 10 seconds or so so you get 10 seconds to move, and the snail would move, but then 10 seconds later another snail would appear and do the tracks of what you'd just done whilst you were still playing. So it's like a puzzle game, but you ended up, and you couldn't bang into each other because obviously you can't meet yourself when you time travel kind of thing. Yeah. But it just reminded me of that. That was a good game. No one would probably remember it. But
no, I've never heard of that.
Cool. Okay, so that's our top 5 of the year. It's not officially endorsed by SquareXO. It's Dan and Rebecca's top 5 games of the year. Yeah. We have got the other guys' top 3 or so games of the year. They're all busy today, but they did message us. So I'll start with Rob's top 3, if I can find the tweets. Not the tweets, the messages. So Rob went for, drum roll. So he's done it differently. He's given us a top game on each PlayStation system. So for PS4, he's put Danganronpa version 3. So there were 2 originally PS Vita games in this series, so the third one was then released on both, I think, and they are visual novels. Again, they're quite adult, they're quite cool. I started playing one but never finished it, but yeah, it's got an amazing story, deep character bonding, it's nice and long, and there's kind of lots of emotion in it, so that's his favourite PS4 game. PS Vita game is the one he's currently playing, which I don't actually know too much about, which is Tokyo Tattoo Girls.
No, I don't know either.
I think it's a bit about trying to take over the world, but I'm not 100% sure. I think he's writing a review about it, so we'll probably find out more when that goes live.
Yeah.
And his PSVR game of the year, which is currently under embargo, so can't talk too much, but obviously it's his favourite PSVR game he's played all year, is Shooty Fruity. So... yeah, I don't know anything about it. I imagine it to be Fruit Ninja, but in VR, but I'm sure it's not.
We'll find out, won't we, when it gets a review.
I think the embargo ends on Tuesday, so we could probably say more, and hear probably say more come Tuesday.
On Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yep, so Nicole's actually picked 5, but she hasn't actually given any reasons why, so I'll just go over them. She's got Gravity Rush 2, which is a game that I know you really like.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Just missed out on my top 5, but yeah.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Nia, obviously, that's your number 1. So I'm guessing, I think you encouraged her to play that, so I'm guessing that's had an impact. Assassin's Creed Origins, which I think she told me was her number 1 of the whole year. That's what, she loved the most from the whole year.
Cool.
Obviously, very big game. It's going to have a lot of love. It's a, well-loved series.
Yeah.
Then she's got Star Wars Battlefront 2, which had a lot of controversy around it. And it does make me wonder if the controversies put a lot of people off. Apparently it's a really good game, and she said she was worried that people won't be into it because of what's happened with the whole EU different matter, EA.
No Brexit talk here.
That's something else entirely. And then her last game she's got on here is Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. So once again, same as you, I think Nicole's list, Nicole definitely likes, I'm going to assume here, sorry Nicole if I'm wrong, I think that she likes the big games of the year, the ones that are massive, lots of money's gone into them, they're really good, they've been well thought out, great narratives. I do like the big games of the year, but like I said to you earlier, I go for the indies. That's just me.
And then Joe sent us 3. We've got number 1 The Lost Legacy again, number 2 Battlefront, or Star Wars Battlefront 2 again, and then number 3 I believe is Zelda Breath of the Wild. So
big games again.
No one has said Horizon in our list. So
that's interesting. That was Zelda that got Game of the Year in the Game Awards, didn't it?
Yeah, it did, yeah. I think Horizon got PlayStation Game of the Year.
I mean, we've
talked about it a lot.
We've talked about it a lot.
I think people know how we all feel about it, and that. I think maybe it would have been in Joe's list if he'd have remembered it, but then the fact that he hasn't remembered it kind of says it all, really. So yeah. Like I said, maybe if guys or if people listening want to, let us know what they think of that choice, then that would be good to hear. Get some debate going. And that's probably. I mean, we've been going over an hour, so we probably should look at wrapping up. I will just finish with a final shout out for the SQXO December competition again, just to remind everyone. Also, a second shout out to Jimmy Rowe, 1994. He's won Hidden Agenda, so let us know your address so we can get that out to you. and follow us on Twitter, which is twitter.com/square_XO, and all the other things I mentioned at the start, basically. So that's it for episode 45. It may also be it for the year, because next Sunday is Christmas Eve. So it's kind of come around quick. So
think about all the games that we'll have to talk about in January, though, from Christmas.
I know, I've got a few on my Christmas list.
I can't wait.
Having time to play them all. I just hope I can have a good. We're meant to be picking up a puppy tomorrow, so I may not have much time to game.
So exciting! I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, we can't wait. So we'll see. But thanks to all the listeners for listening throughout the year and subscribing and interacting. Thanks to Rob, you, Rebecca, and Nicole and Joe for inputting on the site, and it's been a good year. Hopefully next year will be just as good. And we'll see you after Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Happy New Year as well.
Oh, and Happy New Year. Yeah, great stuff. Okay, thanks guys. Thanks for listening, and speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye.